Hey guys, good morning all. Am I audible and visible? Good morning, people. Good morning, everyone. Hi guys, how are you all? Good morning, good morning. Am I audible and visible to you all? Kindly confirm in the chat box, guys, quickly. Okay, mic is on. Good morning, guys, good morning. Let's quickly join the class. Come on. Good morning, everyone. Quickly come on the chat box and let me know if I'm audible and visible to you all. I think it's good afternoon now. It's 12 past 5 minutes. So good afternoon right now. So today we have to continue with which topic, guys? We have to talk about the class Amphibia. Last class we completed with respect to superclass Pisces, and we saw the two classes, the chondrichthyes and the osteichthyes. And today we are going to continue from class Amphibia. Good morning, good afternoon, Harshita. Good afternoon, Spurti. Good afternoon, guys. So I hope you practiced some questions from the last class. Okay, you solved some questions regarding vertebrates, aganata, cyclostomata, then superclass Pisces features, and then the chondrichthyes and the osteichthyes, right? So let's continue with the further class. We are studying what group? We are studying the tetrapods. We completed with the Pisces. We are now starting with tetrapods. We just completed the superclass Pisces. Now we will start with superclass tetrapoda. And in superclass tetrapoda, first we will talk about amphibia. Now, what is the meaning of amphibians? Amphibia word comes from amphi. Amphi means what? Amphi and bia. Amphi is dual, bio is life. So they have a dual mode of life. They can live on land as well as water, right? So they have a dual mode of living, that is living on land also and living on water also. Can they survive without water? My one basic question, can they survive without water? So they live on land and water both, but can they survive without water? Without water, survival will be impossible, because water is very important for their reproduction part. For reproduction, water is very important, right? And fertilization and everything takes place in the water itself. The tadpole and all, they also grow up in the water itself. So water is very important. Without water, they cannot survive. That's why they are not the successful vertebrates, we will say. They are not successful vertebrates. They were able to come on the land and live on land, but they were dependent on water for reproduction, especially. So that's why they are not the successful vertebrates on land, or not a successful terrestrial vertebrate. So if I ask you a question, which vertebrate was the first true terrestrial vertebrate to be, living properly on land without any dependence on nearby living the water? Can you tell me which is the first true successful terrestrial vertebrate? Amphibians, Ledu. So after amphibians, which is the next class? Very good, Rahul. The next class we are going to talk about is reptiles. So reptiles are the true terrestrial vertebrates, the first one, okay, to be successfully getting adapted to the terrestrial conditions and doing some changes in the body. Like reptiles, they have scales on their body, so they minimize the water loss. Then they produce cladoic eggs. Cladoic word you might have heard. Cladoic means eggs which are having shells. Eggs which are having shells. Amphibian eggs, frog eggs and the fish's eggs, which show external fertilization, which lay the eggs outside, they don't have the shell, so that will dry out. So they have to be nearby in the water only, amphibians. And reptiles, they are laying the shelled eggs. The cladoic eggs, a hard calcareous shell is there, which is protecting the embryo from getting dried out. So they are successfully adapted to the land conditions, right? So moving ahead, amphibians, word we understood. What is amphibian? Where they can found? Are they found in marine water or fresh water? If you say they are found near water, they require water, which kind of water is suitable for them? Is it the marine water that's suitable for them or the fresh water? Very common sense question, very basic question. Are they requiring fresh water or marine water? Rahul, you need to think a little bit more better. It should be fresh water only. Which amphibians do you think they survive in marine water? Ledu. They cannot survive in marine salty water, beta. ठीक है, Rahul. So a very important, very basic question, and sometimes many students go wrong in this, that amphibians require fresh water only. They cannot survive in marine water. Okay? Yes, beta. Only fresh water, please. Because their skin is very moist. And if you put them in the salt water, osmosis will happen and all the water will go out. And what will happen? Their body will become dried, right? So they are not found in marine water. They are always found in fresh water. So in sea water, marine water, either brackish water, they will not be able to survive there. Okay, salt level is too high. Now, talking about their body. So if you see the amphibian body, their body is divided into head and trunk. Okay, two basic parts are there, head and trunk. So here is the head, neck is absent, no neck is there, and then there is a trunk. So frogs, toads, all of them have head and trunk. But when you talk about a salamander, so if you look at the picture here, we have a salamander here. So when you look at a salamander, salamandra, scientific name, their body is having one more extra part, that is the tail part. So salamander, all of the salamanders, they do have the tail. So amphibian body, basic division is head and trunk. When you talk about frogs and toad, tail may be present in some amphibians. And which are the some amphibians we are talking about? We are talking about the salamander here. Are we clear? So since tail is ledu in frog, adult frog doesn't have a tail. A tadpole may have it, but it is not there in the adult stage we are talking about. Okay, so adult is not having the tail. Which order does frog belongs to? Tail is absent. Tail ledu. So what we will say? Tail is absent. So which order it is belonging to? Class is amphibia. Order kaun sa hoga? After class, order comes. And that is required in your frog chapter. Come on, quickly. Jaldi se bol do. Anura. Anura. You studied urochordates. In urochordates, I told you uro means a tail. In tail, notochord is there in larval stage. So anura. Anura means no tail is present. That is the order of the frog that we will again stress during the frog chapter. So this is Anura order. So what about salamander? Salamander has a tail. So they belong to the order Urodela. They belong to the order Urodela, which have a tail present on them. Okay. So you just need to remember the frog order, okay, because it's a PYQ also that we will again specify during the frog chapter. Okay. But little bit additional point here and then I will talk about. Now talking about their skin, as I said, their skin, amphibian skin is very smooth. Some of them may have a little bit rough skin. Like if you see a toad, there is a difference between frog and toad. Frog skin is very moist and slimy. Toad, they have a little bit rough skin, okay? Warts are present, their body has raised structures. That little bit rough skin is present on the toads. But frog, it's absolutely smooth. They have the mucus gland, which keeps the skin very moist. And that moist skin is absolutely important because that using moist skin, they are going to do the respiration. The gaseous exchange is going to happen, which you call it as what respiration? Using skin as a respiration, using the moist skin as a respiration. What is the respiration called? In the chat box, I need the answer. Next, amphibian skin is devoid of scales. Scales are absent. Why they will keep scales? Since they are doing respiration through their skin, okay, that's why the scales are absent. So scale is missing, devoid, scales ledu, because they are doing cutaneous respiration. However, there is one exception which is having scales in amphibia. There is one exception which has scales in amphibia, that is your ichthyophis. the Sicilian ichthyophis, the blind amphibian, which we say, the limbless amphibian, which we say, looking like a snake, ichthyophis. That is the example given in the NCERT, that has scales on their body beneath the skin actually. The scale is beneath the skin. Okay, so that is one exception. You need not remember, NEET will not ask you, just letting you know this. Okay, so moving ahead, very important, moist skin, right, for respiration. And cutaneous respiration you will study, that is done during in the water when they are doing the cutaneous respiration, right? And when they are in the hibernation state or the estivation state during the summer and winter condition respectively, they are again doing the cutaneous respiration. That becomes very important when they are hibernating. Then talking about the locomotion part, for locomotion part they are a tetrapod. So they are a tetrapod means two pair of limbs is there. You can see the forelimbs and the hind limbs, right? If you observe the forelimbs, they are little smaller as compared to the hind limbs. Hind limbs are longer. So if you can see this frog here, very long hind limbs are there. And this long hind limbs provide a lot of force, a jumping force for leaping. Okay? Okay, leaping means hopping. Very good jump they can do. But if you see a toad will have a very dry, warty skin. Toad hind limbs are a little smaller. So they cannot do a good leap. A big jump they cannot make. They can make a small hop, but they cannot do the big leaping. Then these legs are also useful for swimming, hopping. Okay, so these are the two pair of limbs, and in water they will do definitely swimming, but obvious in land they will be hopping and leaping, jumping around, right? Next feature, when we see the frog, we talk about the tympanum. Okay, we talk about the tympanum. So behind their eyes you can see a tympanic membrane which is representing the eardrum. What it is representing? Eardrum. And what is the function? It helps in perceiving the sound, right? So tympanum is present. Can I say external pinna is present here? Can I say external pinna is there? External pinna is not there. There is just a tympanum, and inside there will be one ossicle. We have three ossicles, they have at least one ossicle, and that is connected to the internal ear for processing the sound. Correct? Talking about after tympanum, so tympanum is present. Okay, after tympanum, we have the eyes. Eyes have eyelids. Eyes have what? Eyelids. Upper eyelid, lower eyelid. So upper eyelid, lower eyelid is there. Okay, open and close, they can do the eyes. And one more eyelid-like structure is there, which is also referred as a third eyelid of the frog, and that is called as the nictitating membrane. Which membrane? Nictitating membrane. Nictitating membrane is also well developed. So it is like a protective, transparent, sheath-like covering. So whenever they are going swimming, so they swim in the fresh water, muddy ponds. Pond is muddy, okay? Lot of dirt is there inside. So they need to protect their eyes. So what they will do as they swim, they will cover their eyes with the nictitating membrane. So protect the eyes from the dirt and dust, whatever is there in the water, right? So that will protect their eyes. Nictitating membrane is also seen in reptiles, also seen in birds, but absent in mammals. That is absent in us. Okay, nictitating membrane is absent. We have a vestigial structure of it. What we have? We have a vestigial. In the corner of our eye, we will have a vestigial structure of the nictitating membrane. Are we clear with this, guys? Are we clear? Nictitating membrane. So you can just write down nictitating membrane as the third eyelid, which is a transparent sheath-like covering which protects the eyes. So as soon as they go in the water, it covers. Like some swimmer going in the swimming pool, they will apply their speedo goggles, okay, and that is a protective eyewear. So similarly, they have also a protective eyelid, a third eyelid, which runs horizontally, okay, and protects their nictitating membrane. Similarly, birds also have it because they are flying at a very high speed, so they need to cover it. Similarly, birds, when they jump into the water and go and catch the fish, they also need the nictitating membrane to protect their eyes. Similarly, reptiles like crocodile, snakes, they also have the nictitating membrane well developed. Okay, moving ahead. After tympanum and nictitating membrane, let's talk about their other systems. They have alimentary canal. Okay, alimentary canal, when you study frog, but obvious you students are long-term students, you have studied the alimentary canal of the frog as well. Is it short or long? Tell me quickly. Alimentary canal is short or long. Other than alimentary canal, they have the urinary tract also. They have a pair of kidneys, ureter connected to the urinary bladder, and urinary bladder directly opens into the cloaca. And then we have the reproductive tracts, right? It's short. Yes, exactly. Very good answer. Yeah, right, students, correct. It's short. Why it is short? Because adult frogs, they are carnivorous. The amphibians, they are carnivorous. So for that, the digestion takes little lesser time to digest the protein. So that's why they are having a short alimentary canal. You have seen frogs eating an insects and all. But if someone asks you about a tadpole, what does a tadpole eat? Frog is insectivorous, carnivorous. So for that, digestion takes very less time. So alimentary canal is shorter. What about a tadpole if I say? Tadpole is in the water and tadpole eats what? Tadpole eats basically the algae and all. Okay, tadpole is a herbivorous. Yes, tadpole is a herbivorous creature. Phytoplankton is all correct. They will eat the phytoplanktons, so they are herbivorous. And as they develop the teeth and all, and a very long tongue. Okay, elastic tongue is there also in the frog, not mentioned here. Okay. So coming back to the topic, guys. So all that point we will discuss in frog. Okay, some points are coming from the frog here. So alimentary canal, urinary tract, reproductive tract, they do not have a separate opening. All open into a single opening. All of them open into a single opening that is called as a cloacal aperture. Okay, chamber is called as cloaca. Opening of the cloacal chamber is called as cloacal aperture. Aperture means opening. And just above the cloacal aperture, we have the chamber that is called as the cloacal chamber. So alimentary canal, urinary tract, reproductive tract, all open in the cloaca. Only single opening is present in the body. That represents the reproductive tract opening. So the gametes will be released from the same part. The fecal matter also will be released from the same part. And the urine will be also released from the same part. Okay, that is the cloaca, and the outer external opening, that is the cloacal aperture. Now let's talk about the respiratory system. So amphibians can breathe through gills also. They can breathe through lungs also and skin also. Breathing through gills is called as branchial respiration, and breathing through lung is pulmonary respiration. Breathing through skin we already discussed, it is cutaneous respiration, right? Now, gills are present at which state? Gills are present in the tadpole state of the frog and your toads. The tadpole larvae breathe through the gills. But there are some aquatic salamanders, permanent aquatic salamanders, which always stay in water only. They never come out, like your mud puppy. Which puppy? Mud puppy. Also known as necturus. Also known as necturus. 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 So necturus, mud puppy, and then the larval stage of ambystoma. Larval stage of ambystoma is known as the exolotl. What it is known as, guys? It is known as a exolotl. So in front of you, what you are looking is a exolotl. It is a salamander. What it is? It is a salamander. But lifelong, it lives in the water only. Okay? It is the exolotl, A-X-O-L-O-T-L. Now the problem with exolotl is that this lifelong remains in larval stage features only. They develop the reproductive system. Reproductive system develops, but their outer morphology is like a larval stage only. Okay, so you can see the gills coming out of their head areas. So these are the gills. So lifelong, mud puppy, exolotl, necturus, okay, they breathe via what? They breathe via gills. Okay? Permanently, they use gills as they stay permanently in water only. But if I talk about your frog, okay, or I talk about a normal salamander, the salamandra, in that case, frog tadpole uses gills, okay, during the larval stage. Then frog can use lungs and skin both. On land, they are able to use lungs also, skin also. In water, they will use the skin, correct? And then when they are in hibernation, they are using the skin, that is the cutaneous respiration. One more type of respiration is seen, that is called as buccopharyngeal respiration. What respiration? Buccopharyngeal. So the buccal cavity and the pharyngeal area of the frog, it is highly vascular. So if they just keep their mouth open, okay, the atmospheric air is coming in contact with the buccopharyngeal cavity, and that is able to exchange the gas with the membrane directly. So they can do buccopharyngeal respiration also. So there is gills, lungs, skin, all three modes of respirations are seen. But in frog chapter, when we talk about, we will specify skin, cutaneous respiration during the hibernation aestivation state, lungs during on land, lungs and skin both on land when they are normally living, in hibernation only skin, then tadpole larva, gills, in water only skin again, right? Are we clear with this, guys? Respiration clear, everyone? And after respiration, moving ahead, now let's talk about their circulatory system. Let's talk about circulatory system. So amphibians have how many chambered heart? Last time we studied the Pisces. Pisces have two chambered heart, one atria, one ventricle. Okay, and heart is pumping only deoxygenated blood. So from the body of the fish, deoxygenated blood goes into the atria, then into the ventricle. So heart is pumping only deoxygenated blood. That's why in fish we call it as, what in fish we call it as? We call in the fish as a venous heart, correct? But talking about amphibians and reptiles, amphibians and reptiles have a three-chambered heart. What they have, guys? They have a three-chambered heart, one ventricle and two atrias. Okay, atria can be also called as auricles, two auricles, that is the two atria, and one single ventricle, correct? And then important structures are there like sinus venosus and truncus arteriosus. So for this chapter right now at Animal Kingdom, for your upcoming exam, it's not required to remember what is sinus venosus and truncus arteriosus or conus arteriosus. Sinus venosus, I will just give a brief description here. Frogs deoxygenated blood. Frogs deoxygenated blood from the body collected by the veins opens on the dorsal side of the heart. Frogs deoxygenated blood gets collected by the veins, and all these veins open in a structure called as sinus venosus on the dorsal side of the heart. So sinus venosus is like your vena cavas. Like we have inferior and superior vena cava, which bring the deoxygenated blood. So sinus venosus on the dorsal side of the heart. So if this is the heart of the frog, on the dorsal side, on the back side, the sinus venosus will open and drain the deoxygenated blood in the right atrium. In which atrium? Right atrium. From the left atrium, what we are getting in the frog gets the oxygenated blood coming from skin and lungs. Oxygenated blood is coming from skin and lungs. Okay, that is opening in the left atrium. But problem is that the right atrial deoxygenated blood and left atrium oxygenated blood gets mixed in the common ventricle. So now the blood is, it has become mixed. It is not having that much saturation of oxygen. And with the help of the ventricle, a blood is pumped. That blood is not completely oxygenated, not completely deoxygenated. So that blood is pumped from the ventricle. It comes out through conus arteriosus. What it comes out through? Conus arteriosus, which further goes ahead and becomes a trunk-like structure. That is called as truncus arteriosus. Okay. So conus arteriosus in the front, where the blood is pumped in the ventricles pump, the blood goes in conus arteriosus, and then conus arteriosus little bit elongates like a trunk-like structure. That is called as truncus arteriosus. Truncus arteriosus is not given in NCERT. Truncus arteriosus initial structure is given in the NCERT, that is the conus arteriosus. Okay, that part we are going to study again in your frog chapter. I just gave a brief description here. Now talking about, since their blood is getting mixed, their oxygenation level is not good. So they cannot do a lot of aerobic respiration, a lot of energy production cannot happen. So that's why they are not warm-blooded animals. What they are cold-blooded animals, poikilothermic or ectothermic animals. So they have to adjust accordingly with the external environment. Okay, and if it becomes too much hot, too much cold, they have to go in hibernation state or estivation state. Are we clear with this, guys? cold-blooded animals. And but obvious they have RBC also. RBC here is biconvex and nucleated. RBC in frogs is biconvex and nucleated, whereas for humans we say it is biconcave and enucleated. Correct, everyone? And talking about circulation, if I talk about circulation, what is the circulation here? Are we having a complete double circulation here? Are we having a complete double circulation? Ledu. There is incomplete double circulation, since there is a mixing of the blood happening in the ventricles. So that's why we say there is a incomplete double circulation. Same will be applied for reptiles also. Reptiles also have the three-chambered heart. They are also cold-blooded. In their ventricles also the blood is getting mixed, and they are also cold-blooded animals, except one reptile whose heart is little different. One group of reptiles, I will say, that is crocodiles. Crocodiles or Crocodilia family, or crocodile-like reptiles, crocodiles, alligators, gharials, all whatever, caimans, these are all crocodile-looking like animals. So all of them have the four-chambered heart, but that doesn't help. Still, they are cold-blooded animals. So even though crocodiles, they have four-chambered heart, they still are cold-blooded animals. Are we clear? So all amphibians, reptiles, you can say they are cold-blooded, but amphibian and reptile, if they are asking in general what is the heart chambers, you will say 3. In crocodile exception, you will say 4-chambered. Are we clear, everyone? Moving ahead. Next, talking about the reproduction. Talking about reproduction. Okay. So in amphibians, the sexes are separate. The male-female sexes are separate. Male is little smaller, chinna size. Females are little broader. Okay. Big size females are there. Then lot of things about how sexual reproduction happens, how mating call occurs, how males are croaking, singing, okay, that happens, and then reproduction happens. And as you can see, the male is embracing the female here, that is called as amplexus. Now to embrace the female, the male frogs, in the male frog, the first limb is little enlarged. Yes or no? So if you see in the male frog, the first limb is little enlarged. Thumb pads, okay, they form the thumb pads or the amplex pad, we can say, okay, copulatory pads, yes, well developed in males, and that is absent in females. So that embrace, so male is embracing here the female, holding the female, and that helps to simultaneous release of the eggs and sperms. Where? In the water or nearby water. So they will release the egg and sperm in the water. That is also called as spawning, which I told you in the last class for the Aegonatha cyclostomes. That is the spawning happening, and gametes are released in the water outside the body. Fertilization is happening outside, and then after some duration we will get a tadpole larva. That's why the development, we will say indirect development. Sex is separate, unisexual, dioecious condition, and we can also say there is sexual dimorphism. Okay, sexual dimorphism is also there in the male female, you can distinguish. Then we can say there is external fertilization outside the body. Then we will say larval stage is seen, so indirect development. Okay, however, salamander is an exception. Salamander shows viviparity. Salamander shows viviparity. Just you should know the exception, but you have to go for your NEET exam, you remember the NCRT points. External fertilization, indirect fertilization, sexes are separate. And they show oviparous condition, egg laying. Okay, oviparous, laying the eggs. Okay, beta? Are we clear? So fertilization external, majorly they are oviparous. Salamander is an exception, which is viviparous. And development is going through a larval stage. And that's why it is a indirect development. Are we clear with this, guys? So we have roughly covered the general features of amphibia. We will talk more detail when we speak about frog. Okay. So this completes the amphibian. Let's quickly see what are the examples. What are the different examples in amphibians we will talk about. So we have the first Anura order. Anura order, Rana tigrina, bullfrog, that we will study. Okay. Hyla arborea. Hyla is arborea. Arborea means a tree basically. So they are presently on the tree leaves and all. So they are the tree frogs. Then we have the salamander. Salamander, scientific name Salamandra. Okay. Then we have toad, which is scientific name Bufo. You have the toad. Indian toad called as bufo, scientific name. Look at the skin of the toad. Now, skin of the toad is very dry and rough, right? So bufo can survive a little bit more hotter climates, drier climates also. Okay? And then on this side you have a snake looking like amphibian, looks like a snake with their young ones also inside here. And the name is Ichthyophis. What is the name? Ichthyophis, and it is a limbless amphibian, doesn't have a limb. Their eyes are also covered by scales and all, so they are not able to see properly. So they are also called as the Sicilians. Sicilian group, we can say. The Sicilians are blind amphibians, or they don't have the limbs, so we can say limbless amphibian. Ichthyobis, because they have scales. Ichthyo means fishes. Chondrichthyes, osteichthyes. Ichthyo means having scales, and ophis stands for snake. Snake-like. The body looks like a snake. So Ichthyophis, a limbless amphibian. Are we clear with this, guys? Okay, and some frogs you might be knowing, along with their mucus gland on their skin, they also have the toxic glands or the poison glands, which are also there in the some frogs, okay, especially in the Amazon frogs. So there are some poisonous frogs as well, right? Moving ahead. Now after amphibians, let's go ahead. Come on. Now reptiles. Are we clear with amphibians, guys? No doubt. Clear, everyone? Give me a thumbs up quickly. Understood amphibians? No problem in amphibians, everyone? Clear with amphibians? Okay, very good. Now let's talk about reptiles, reptilia. Okay, the class which you and me both are scared of. So obviously, most of the people are scared of reptiles. So class reptilia, the name comes from the Latin word reper. Reper or reptum. Reper or reptum basically in English means to creep or crawl. So majority of the reptiles are having a creeping or a crawling locomotion. That's why the name reptile is given. Where they are found, they are mostly terrestrial. They are mostly terrestrial, but obvious we have some of the reptiles which are the aquatic snakes. Aquatic snakes are there. Then anaconda is there. Anaconda, very good swimmer, also goes in water. Then there are marine water aquatic snakes, freshwater aquatic snakes, right? And there are some iguanas. You might have heard of iguanas. These are also lizard looking like, small Godzilla. I say them iguanas. Like here also you can see, I think this is the iguana only. And they can swim very well in the water. So we do have some aquatic reptiles also. Then how did I forget the turtle? Turtle is also there, freshwater turtle, marine water turtle. Okay, so they are the aquatic ones also. But the thing is that they have successfully adapted the terrestrial environment. And they are also found in the warmer parts of the world. They like warm areas. You will not find them in extreme cold environment. Like if you go to Antarctica, you will hardly find any snake or something. Okay, because it's very extremely cold. But warmer parts, they have successfully adapted. It means their water dependency has decreased. So moving ahead from amphibians to reptiles, reptiles have successfully adapted the terrestrial environments. That's why they are the first true terrestrial vertebrate. The first true terrestrial vertebrate. Later we have apes and apes and mammals also. And roughly there are 6,000 living reptile species. Okay, moving ahead. Now, how did they adapt it? How did they adapt the land? What is there special in them? So basically their skin is very dry. Okay, the skin is very dry. The skin have scales, scutes, which are cornified. What is the meaning of cornified? Cornified means keratin deposition is too much. Too much of keratin, it becomes very hard. Okay, so water loss is prevented, due to which the skin becomes very rough, and rough skin is protective in nature. And without any gland, no glands on the skin as well. So they have made their skin very dry, cornified, hardened, okay, either into scales or scutes-like structure. On crocodiles, you see the elevated, sharp plate-like structures. They are called as the scutes. Okay, and snakes and lizards, they have the ability to shed their skin as a skin cast. So lizard and snake, as they creep and crawl, their skin gets damaged. So a new layer of skin again comes back, and they will shed the old skin. Okay, and that is removed as a skin cast. Here you can see the skin cast seen in lizards and snakes. And that is also referred as molting. You can also call it as molting or ecdysis. We use the word molting and ecdysis when we studied, I think I told you regarding exoskeleton chitin in arthropods. They also show ecdysis or molting. Here also we can say molting or ecdysis happens. Okay, but here it is of the skin area, the damaged scales and all. Okay, moving ahead. So that's how they successfully adapted the land. Now talking about their other body features, reptiles do not have external ear openings. What they have? They do not have any external ear openings. So ear pinna and all that thing is not there. They also have tympanum. Like frog, they also have tympanum, but in some reptiles, the tympanum has started to sunk inside. Okay, so if you observe any adult lizard, okay, if you see any adult lizard nearby you, carefully look behind their eyes. Carefully look behind their eyes. You will see the tympanum is getting sunken a little bit. It is going inside. So it is basically an evolutionary process. Like our tympanum is completely sunken inside. Now it is a part of the middle ear, we will say. Correct? With the ossicles. So here also tympanum is representing the ear which collects the sound waves, and then there is internal ear connected to the tympanum that helps the processing of the sound. But slowly what is happening? It is getting sunken inside. Tympanum is sunken, we will say. Frog tympanum is elevated a bit. Here the tympanum is getting sink inside. Next, now talking about their locomotory structures, they have two pair of limbs other than snakes or pythons and all. Snakes and pythons, they are the exceptions. They do not have two pair of limbs. But if you talk about lizards, you talk about the other creatures, crocodiles, turtles and all, and marine turtles and all, they have two pair of pentadactyl limbs. What is pentadactyl limbs, guys? What is the meaning of pentadactyl limbs? Means they have how many digits? They have 5 digits which are bearing the claws. Sharp nails are present. Do amphibian have a pentadactyl limb? Do amphibian have pentadactyl limbs? Do amphibian have pentadactyl limbs? Can you tell me how many digits on the forelimbs and how many digits on the hind limbs on the frog? That is also there in the syllabus which we study in the frog chapter, right? How many on the forelimbs and how many on the hind limbs? Tell me. In frog. Okay, search and tell me. Okay, but right now 4 and 5 exactly. 4 on the forelimb and 5 on the hind limb. Very good. But here in reptiles, all the limbs will have 5 digits. How many digits? 5 digits. Okay, so pentadactyl limbs, and not only digits. Digits are claw, having claw, nail-like structure, right? But in amphibians, they do not have any claw-like structure. Do amphibians have claws? Claws are ledu. They do not have any nail-like structure. They do not have any claws. Okay? These guys, reptiles have claws. As you can see, the foot of lizard you can count. Okay? Foot of the hind foot of the tortoise, you can again count the number of digits with the claws. Then foot of a marine turtle, which is formed into a paddle, that also has a 5 digits, which is having the claw-like structures. Okay? But obvious that is for protection. Okay? So pentadactyl limbs with 5 digits bearing claws. Exception is snakes. Exception is snakes. Moving ahead. Now talking about the circulatory system of the reptiles. But obviously it's a closed circulatory system. We are discussing invertebrates. They have 2 auricles and 1 ventricle. Ventricle is now having a partial separation. Ventricle started showing the interventricular septum, but it is partially separated. Okay, the septum is not complete interventricular septum. So partial septum is there. It suggests that evolution is happening to make a new interventricular septum complete, and that will divide the ventricles into 2 chambers, right? But since reptiles, even though have the partial interventricular septum, still it is making the ventricle a single chamber only, and the blood is getting mixed. So majority of the reptiles still have 3-chambered heart. Exception is your crocodiles, where the interventricular septum is complete. And since interventricular septum is complete, the 2 ventricle chambers the ventricle chamber is properly separated into 2. So we have 4 chambers. That is crocodiles. Crocodiles, alligators, ghadials, whatever crocodilia family looking like animals are there, they will go in that. Okay? And reptiles are what? Reptiles are cold-blooded. What are reptiles? They are also cold-blooded. Okay? They cannot regulate their own body temperature. Correct? And now moving ahead. Talking about the reproduction. Talking about the reproduction, sexes are separate. Male, female sex will be separate. Fertilization is inside the body. Fertilization is inside the body. So in the reptiles, they have something called as a hemipenis. A very small penis or penile-like structure is there, which can help in internal fertilization. So the fertilization becomes internal. The sperm is transferred in the female body. So fertilization becomes internal, and they are oviparous. They lay eggs. As you can see, the hatching of egg is happening. And since shelled eggs are there, that's why we say clidoic egg. Which egg we will say here? Clidoic egg. Which egg? Clidoic eggs. So eggs are having shell. Eggs are having shell, so we say the word clidoic. What we will use? Clidoic. Clidoic means egg shell is present. If I say non-clidoic, then non-clidoic means shell is not there. Amphibians and Pisces, they do not have any shell. Non-clidoic. Whereas reptiles, birds, that is aves, and some egg-laying mammals, they have the egg shell. And that is also a very important evolutionary step, because that is protecting their embryo from getting dehydrated. And one more structure which developed from reptile onwards, that is your amnion. Read this, amnion. Do you read the word amnion? Amnion is present. That's why reptiles, aves and mammals. Reptile, aves and mammals, they are called as what? They are called as amniotes. What they are called as amniotes. So remember these two words. This may come in the exam. This may come into some random reference book question. And this is the PYQ also. So don't get scared. Just remember, if the shell is there, it is clidoic egg. Clidoic egg is seen in reptiles, birds, and some egg-laying mammals like prototherians, your duckbill platypus, okay, or spiny anteater. And then we have the word amniotes. Amniotes means they have an extra embryonic membrane which is called as amnion. Like we also, when we are in fetal stage, present inside mother's womb, we are in a fluid-filled chamber. That fluid-filled chamber that you say is the amniotic cavity filled with amniotic fluid, the membrane is called as the amnion. Okay? So amniotes, which groups are amniotes? The amniotes groups are your reptiles. You will remember. एक reptiles हो गया, फिर एक aves हो गया, और एक mammals हो गया. ठीक है? And if I say non-amniotes, then non-amniotes, which don't make any amnion, they don't make the amnion structure, then you will say amphibians and Pisces. Are we clear with this, guys? Are we clear, guys? Okay, just remember these two important words. Then remaining points are very easy. Sexes are separate, unisexual, fertilization inside the body, internal. They are oviparous. What are they? Oviparous. Majority of the reptiles are egg-laying. Majority of the reptiles are egg-laying. There are, however, some exceptions. The chameleon, the tree lizard, okay, chameleon which changes the color and all, okay. So that chameleon can give birth directly to young one, that is viviparous. Then your vipera, viper snake, Russell viper, which is more commonly found in India, or the viper species only, I can say. So a lot of viper species are there in the world. So the vipera, especially the Russell viper in India, they give birth directly to young ones. So that is also viviparous, okay. Are we clear with this? Just some exceptions you should remember, but majority, general fundamental characteristic for reptiles, you will say majorly they are oviparous. What are they? Oviparous, and development is direct. Development is direct. There is no larval stage seen. Development is a direct. There is no larval stage seen. Are we clear with this, guys? Okay. Now there are further more exceptions like some Komodo dragon or some crocodiles without fertilization also. There are many news that there was some crocodile, female crocodile without any male member. She laid eggs and that eggs hatched into young ones. So they are also talking about the fertilization without the eggs are giving young ones without fertilization. That process you call it as what? क्या बोलते हैं उसको? Parthenogenesis. Right? So some of the reptiles, they also show parthenogeny, or I can say the parthenogenesis, reproduction, giving young ones without fertilization also. So that is also the rare cases seen in the reptiles. Am I clear? But you remember the general points as per the NCERT. Okay, beta? Are we done? Are we done with reptile? Come on, let's quickly see some examples. What are the examples? The common name and the scientific name which will come in the exam. Shillon, turtle, testudo, tortoise. Okay, never throw a tortoise in a water. नहीं तो मर जाएगा. ठीक है? Tortoise walks on the land. ठीक है? Turtle, no problem. Shillon, marine turtle, fresh turtle. Then we have the chameleon, the tree lizard. This was I was talking about. Give birth to young ones. ठीक है? And they have a very strong tail. Okay? They have a very strong tail, prehensile tail, which has a very strong grip, which holds the tree branches so they don't fall off very easily. Then we have the most annoying creature, which I hate. That is your Hemidactylus. Hemidactylus wall lizard, gecko, commonly called as gecko, also mostly in the Americans and all. We just call it as wall lizard. And the Hemidactylus, okay, scientific name, non-venomous, no venom at all. Okay. Then we have the calots. You might have seen these people running around, okay, here and there, from that side of road to this side of road in the garden and all. The calots, the garden lizard, and then we have the python, that is ajgar. Okay? Again, non-venomous, but very strong, constricting muscles that can break the bones and all. Crocodilus, crocodile. Four-chambered heart, reptile. Then the venomous snake of India, one of the venomous snake of India, Naja, that is Indian cobra. Then we have one more venomous snake of India, that is Bungarus, that is your krait, okay. And then we have the alligator, okay. Alligator, scientific name also alligator, common name also alligator only. Alligator, common name, scientific name, same. Are we clear with this? And one more venomous snake I told you, that viper, Russell's viper, vipera. Okay, so that's are the venomous snake. Okay, then king cobra is also there. King cobra, little more bigger. Okay, in the further southern part of the India, the king cobra, that is Ophiopagus hanna. The king cobra, that is Ophiopagus hanna, the more bigger, one more venomous snake. So total 4 venomous snake we can say: Naja, Indian cobra, Bungarus, that is krait, and your that is viper, Russell's viper, and then the Ophiopagus hanna, the king cobra. These are mostly the 4 venomous snakes in the India. Okay. Then some aquatic snakes are there, little bit venomous, that doesn't kill actually the humans. Okay. But remaining one, they have a very high power of killing humans. Now that completes your reptile. Okay. Are we clear with reptile, guys? Shall we start with aves? Come on. Give me a thumbs up. Are you awake? I hope you're not sleeping, right? Not sleeping, right? Awake, right? Let's continue. Okay, great. Very good. Super. Let's go ahead. Now talk about aves. So aves, glorified reptiles. So talking about the evolution of aves, aves are evolved from reptiles only. Okay. So we had the reptiles which were able to fly. They were known as the first birds, okay, like Archaeopteryx and all, Archaeoneris and all, okay, Archaeonoris and all, Archaeopteryx, which is there, which we got the fossil. That was the first, flying bird, we will say, but that was evolved from a reptile. So Julius Huxley, I think, a very renowned evolutionary scientist, he said a word that birds are glorified reptiles. So the reptiles glorified evolved into what? Aves, right? And aves word comes from the word avis, A-V-I-S, avis, aviation. Avis means to fly. Okay? So they have the ability to fly. So the characteristic feature of aves meaning ability to fly. Reptile was repper and crawl. Amphibia, dual mode of life, right? So birds have the ability to fly because there is presence of feathers. There are lot of modifications in the body also, but feathers are a very particular feature which is seen in aves, which helps them in flying. Correct? But however said that, birds have the ability to fly. There are many birds which cannot fly, and they are called as the flightless birds. And which are the flightless birds mentioned here? We have the ostrich, okay, that is the struthio. And then we have the penguin, that is the aptenoids, okay, which are not having any, flight muscles, or they cannot fly basically. You can add kiwi also to that, kiwi, which is more found in the New Zealand. Kiwi bird is there. Then we can add emu. Emu is also there, E-M-U, emu. Emu is there. After emu, we can add one more bird, that is a rhea. R-H-E-A, rhea. So if you look at emu, you might have seen also emu. Emu, rhea and ostrich, they look almost very similar, but the biggest of them is ostrich. Ostrich is a very, very huge bird. Little smaller emu, further little smaller, we will say rhea, R-H-E-A. Rhea is ostrich looking like, but very small, found in the South American part of the world, and ostrich, which is found in the African, part of the world, right? And penguin, that is present in the Antarctica region and all, and they are not able to fly. So these birds are flightless birds, correct? Moving ahead, next. Talking about their body characteristics, let's talk about their body features. Now, forelimbs in birds, the forelimbs are modified into wings, and wings have the feathers, right? The hind limbs are having scales. So if you see the hind limb here, look at the hind limb. So forelimb is modified into wings for flying, and the hind limb is having scales. Look at this. So when you go to buy the chicken also, when you go to the poultry farm, you buy the chicken, you can look at the legs of the chicken. They have scales on them. And scales are the features of reptiles. Scales are the feature of reptiles. So it shows the reptilian ancestry. They are coming from the reptiles. That's why scale is a feature which is present on their skin, right? And one more thing, their skin is also dry. Reptile skin was also dry. So the hind limbs generally have scales. So a pair of hind limb is there. Hind limbs for different birds can be used for different things. Some birds use for it walking. Some are using it for swimming, like a duck. If you have a duck have webbings also on their hind limbs, which are used for swimming or clasping, tightly holding the tree branches, or like your eagles and all, which can, capture their prey, very tightly holding them. And good claws are also present, right? Holding the tree branches, that is clasping. Now talking about skin. Skin is absolutely dry. Skin is dry without any scales. Scales are not there. Skin is absolutely dry, except there is a small chinna gland. You can see the chinna gland here. Very small chinna gland near the base, near the tail opening. Okay? And near the tail, a small gland is present, which is called as the oil gland, which is also known as a preen gland, and it is also known as uropygial gland. It is also known as uropygial gland. So remember this. No glands on the skin. Skin is absolutely dry. See, skin is dry without any scale. Exception is there. There is an oil gland called as preen gland, also called as the uropygial gland. Also called as the uropygial gland. And what does it do? It secretes some oily secretions that condition the feathers. Okay, so that is very important for the bird, to condition the feathers. So the feathers are maintained in well state, and that also prevents the, it actually helps as also as a property, being oily in nature, it repels the water as well. So it doesn't let the feathers get wet as well, right? And it conditions the feather. So that is the oil gland or uropygial gland at the base of the tail, where it is present at the base of the tail. Many times in many PYQs of AIMS, AIPMT, they have asked this point. So oil gland, preen gland, very important. And the conditioning of the oil is basically applied on the beak, and then they spread it on their feathers. And that conditioning is called as preening of the feathers. What is that called as? Preening. So basically applying the oil on the feathers is also called as preening. What it is called as? It is called as preening, applying the oil on the feathers through the oil glands. Next, moving ahead, guys, come on. So after understanding this feature, let's further move ahead. Now talking about a very important characteristic, they have the ability to fly. How they fly? To fly, you need to reduce your weight. To fly, you need to reduce your weight. Means I'm talking about aves, not you. So aves, how did they manage to reduce their weight? So weight reduction was done by having hollow bones. So look here, you are having human bone here. Human bone is very rigid, tough, having bone marrow inside it, right? Whereas if you see the bird's bone, birds also have long bones, but bird bones are having air pockets, air cavities in them. Large air pockets are there. So when you eat chicken, and when the chicken leg piece or something comes in between your teeth, it quickly crackles, it quickly cracks. Why it cracks? Because it is a hollow bone. Okay, so it is having hollow bone, pneumatic bone, I will say. Air cavities are present, Okay, so pneumatic bone makes the body very light. So endoskeleton is fully ossified, bony structure is there, bones are there, long bones are present, but they are hollow from inside with air cavities, and that is called as a pneumatic bone. That helps to reduce the weight. And there is no bone marrow. There is no bone marrow. So bone marrow is basically present, but it is very less as compared to the other, like humans and all. So where is the bone marrow found? So in their long bones, in some of the long bones of the birds, at the epiphysis region, at the ends of the bones, there is an epiphyseal region. There we will get some kuncham bone marrow. And there the stem cells will be making what? The RBCs, right? So that's how they will do their red blood cell synthesis. So they have bone marrow, but at the end of the long bones, near the epiphyseal region, remaining all bone is without any bone marrow. Hollow air cavities are there. That makes the bone very light, and that is called as pneumatic bones, which reduces the body weight, and that is an adaptation for flight. Having hollow cavities in the bone, pneumatic bone, that is an adaptation for the flight. Okay, next, moving ahead, talking about digestive system. So they have a beak without a teeth. Beak without teeth. Teeth are absent. Only beak is there. So they are directly just catching and swallowing the food directly. So they need some chamber which can soften the food, which can store the food little bit temporary and then grind it. That's why they have crop and gizzard. So they have additional chamber to soften the food, the large chamber crop, and then grinding the food in gizzard. Crop stores and softens the food. And then in gizzard, there will be grinding. And further, then in the intestinal part, there will be further digestion by the enzymes, and then absorption will occur. Okay? And then outside opening. Outside opening is called as cloacal aperture. So again, in reptiles, in birds, that is aves, and amphibians, reptiles and aves. Amphibian, reptiles and aves all have cloaca. All have what? Cloaca. Frog also reproductive tract, excretory tract, urinary tract. Only one single outside opening, cloaca. And before cloaca, there was a cloacal chamber. Here also in reptiles, cloacal opening, single opening. In birds also single opening, cloacal aperture. Okay, are we clear? So cloaca is seen in amphibians, reptiles, aves. I hope you are noting this also. ठीक है? नहीं तो एग्जाम में आएगा और गलत करोगे. Moving ahead. So read here. I have written already in the diagram also. It is mentioned here. Digestive tract, urinary tract, reproductive tract, all open via a single opening. So fecal matter from cloaca, urine, cloaca, eggs release, sperm release, cloaca. Okay. Moving ahead. Now talking about their circulatory system. Circulatory system is more evolved, developed and advanced. They have complete 4 chambers. The atria separated by interatrial septum, 2 atria. The ventricle properly separated by the interventricular septum. So 2 ventricles, 2 atria, 2 ventricles. That is complete 4 chamber. And due to which they can separate the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood completely. So the right side of the heart is taking care of deoxygenated blood, left side of the heart is taking care of oxygenated blood. The blood is not getting mixed, so oxygen saturation is good. They can burn more amount of glucose, more energy they can produce, and more energy, more heat, they can maintain their body temperature, and hence they are warm-blooded animals. Homeothermous or endothermous or endothermic. Am I clear, everyone? Warm-blooded, homeothermous animals able to maintain body temperature, warm-blooded animals. And what type of circulation you are looking at? Come on, there is a pulmonary circuit, there is a systemic circuit. Pulmonary circuit and systemic circuit, 2 separate circuits and 2 separate pathways are there for the blood. And we say, which circulation is this? We call this which circulation? Come on, in the chat box, quickly type what kind of circulation you will see here. What kind of circulation we are seeing here? Come on guys, come on. अरे बोलो भैया. Complete double circulation बेटा. Complete double circulation. Yes. Pulmonary भी है, systemic भी है, दोनों है. Complete double circulation. In amphibians and reptiles, we said incomplete double circulation. Here we will say complete double circulation. Again, the RBC is biconvex and nucleated. RBC is biconvex and nucleated. RBC is biconvex and nucleated. ठीक है बेटा, चलो आगे बढ़ेंगे. Biconvex and nucleated RBCs. Moving ahead. Now, for respiration, what they have? They have lungs. They do pulmonary respiration. So birds, birds and mammals. Reptiles, birds and mammals all do respiration via lungs. So what is seen? Pulmonary respiration in your reptiles, birds and mammals. So lungs are spongy in nature, but obvious alveoli is there. It is little inelastic. Along with their lungs, they have air sacs. Air sacs are also connected to lungs, which supplement the respiration. So air sacs are also there. Air sacs have a dual function. They also make the body light. So air sac fill with the air. They also make the body light. Okay, that also helps in flying. It's a flight adaptation. Same time, the air which is present in the body, that also helps to maintain the body temperature. So it also helps in maintaining the temperature of the body. And at the same time, it is also helping to supplement the respiration. But the major function will be for flight, making the body light. Okay, air sacs are filled with the air, makes the body light, and that is a very important flight adaptation. Clear, everyone? Respiration done. Now talking about reproduction. Sexes are separate. Male, female separate, dioecious in nature, and fertilization is internal. So here you are looking at a male bird which is transferring the sperms directly through their cloacal opening into the female body. So the cloacas are just getting in contact, and the male is able to transfer the sperms directly in the female body. And this is an internal fertilization. What we are seeing here, internal fertilization is present. So cloaca are just coming in contact. The male is able to release the sperms directly in the female, right? And then female lays the eggs. Egg will develop. Inside the egg there will be embryo. Embryo will develop into a young one that will hatch out and come. So what comes out of the egg? A young one resembling an adult comes out. So we say development is direct. And since eggs are laid, we say they are showing oviparous condition. Which condition? Oviparous condition is seen in birds. Are we clear? Are we clear with reproduction, guys? Yes? Are we clear? Okay? So that is about birds. Now quickly, let's see what are the flight adaptations in the bird. I will go very quick on this slide. So just pay attention. Okay? So first of all, body is spindle shape. Right? When I was talking about Pisces body also tapered at both the ends. That gives least resistance from the water while swimming. Here, the body is spindle shape. That gives minimum resistance from the wind. Okay, so it's aerodynamic. Spindle shape is a good aerodynamic structure, and that prevents the resistance of the wind. Then feathers are there, which provide passage of the air very easily. So feathers quickly pass the air from the body, providing minimum friction. And since friction is less, so they can fly more better in the air. And feathers also helps to maintain the heat in the body. So they prevent the heat loss, they maintain the body temperature. Already we discussed about forelimbs, which are modified into wings, and they have strong flight muscles attached to their breast. Okay, so to the breast, they have strong flight muscles which are helping in flying. Then another feature we already discussed, bones are pneumatic, air-filled cavities that makes the body very light. Air sacs are also there, which are attached to the lungs, which acts as a reservoir of the air. And warm-bloodedness are also necessary for the flight. Then we have urinary bladder absent. To reduce the weight, birds do not have urinary bladder also. They don't store their urine. Urinary bladder is absent in majority of the birds. Exception is rhea bird. Okay, you don't need to remember, just remember general feature. Birds' urinary bladder is absent. So they don't store the urine. Okay, as urine is there formed along with the fecal matter, it's quickly dropped down. Okay, and one more feature to reduce the weight, they have only left ovary. Right ovary is not there. So birds have only single ovary. So using their single ovary, they are doing all the production of the eggs. Single ovary further reduces the body weight. Are we clear with this? And brains and eyes are very well developed. But obvious, you have seen the eagle and all birds hunting their prey very well carefully. So their eyes are very well developed. Their optic lobes, I will say, they are very well developed. But their one power is less developed, that is sense of smell. Eagle far away looking, owl looking far away, the rat, they will not able to smell that. They all depend on their vision. Okay, so vision is highly developed, but then since smell power is not used, olfactory lobes are less developed. The sense of smell is less developed in the birds. Are we clear with this, guys? So these all points were the flight adaptations in the bird, which are asked in some of the PYQs. Okay, so you should be knowing a little bit about this also. And let us see what are the examples quickly. Scientific name along with the common names. Sir, cells of the feathers are dead or living? I need to check, beta. वो देखना पड़ेगा. Probably might be dead, but I need to confirm that. I don't know right now. Okay, feathers are dead or living or not. Okay. Next, moving ahead, talking about corvus. Corvus is your crow. Pavo is peacock. Columbia, we have pigeon. Pistacula is parrot. Neophron, vulture. Milvius, kite is there. Okay. These are all are the scientific names of your birds which you need to remember. So here we complete the birds. Now moving ahead. After this we will talk about what, guys? We will talk about the mammalia class. Moving ahead, guys, let's talk about mammals. So let's jump quickly to mammals. We have a little bit of time left, so we can complete mammalia. So why the name mammalia? But obvious due to presence of mammary glands. Okay? So mammalia are found, they are the most successful vertebrate, I will say, and they are present in all different varieties of habitat, right from polar ice caps to desert, mountain, forest, grassland. There is no such habitat present on earth where we will not find the mammals. So they are adapted to fly also, they are living in water also, so highly adapted animals, we will say. And then the most unique characteristic, which I said, due to which the name of the class is coming, that is the presence of mammary glands. And mammary glands helps in production of the milk, right? And milk is the nourishing fluid for the young ones to develop. Can you tell me mammary gland is modification of which gland? Come on, this you should know this. Mammary gland is only present in mammals, but actually it is a modification of what gland it is. It is a modified which gland, we will say. Anyone? Mammary glands are modified what? No beta, not sebaceous. Nahi beta. Sebaceous to nahi hoga. Sweat glands hona chahiye. They are modified sweat glands. Mammary glands are modified sweat glands or sudoriferous glands. Sweat glands are also called as sudoriferous glands. So they are modified sweat glands. ठीक है? Modified sweat glands. Yes. Yes. Hito Suki. Correct. Modified sweat glands. Kindly note that. Then, talking about the body features, they have two pair of limbs. But obvious they are tetrapods, and that is adapted in different ways for walking, running, climbing, burrowing. Okay, some mammals are burrowing inside the soil, some are swimming, like your whale and dolphins. And some of the mammals where their forelimbs are modified into wings. Their forelimbs are modified into wings, which are skin folds. Basically, if you see the bat wings are not having any feathers. That is a skin fold that is called as a patagium. What that is called as a patagium. Patagium. Okay. Moving ahead, the skin of mammals is also very unique. One unique characteristic we talk about was mammary glands. The another unique characteristic in mammals is a hair. Okay, so mammals are also having hairs. However, there are some exceptions, but majority of the mammals have presence of hair. So hair also becomes what? Hair also becomes a unique characteristic. Can you tell me some other characteristics which are unique to mammals? Only present in mammals. Hair is there. Chalo, एक unique characteristic हो गया. Mammary glands, one more unique characteristic I will say. What are the other unique characteristic which is there in the mammals? Come on. Something which is external ear pinna, very good. That is also there. Okay, external ears. Double circulation तो बेटा birds में भी देखा ना हमने. Double circulation we saw in birds also. Double circulation in birds, mammals, it is common. Okay. Rahul, what is this? ये क्या दिखा रहे हो? Why you are showing a foot? Diaphragm, yes, Uma, very good. Diaphragm is only present in mammals. Okay. It's a unique characteristic of mammals, mostly present in mammals only, which is separating your thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. अरे leg तो बाकी animals में भी है ना भाई. ठीक है? Something related to brain. So we have mammary glands, we have hairs, we have external ear pinna, very good. We have a diaphragm, very good. Something related to brain, guys. The two cerebral hemispheres are connected with what? Yes. Tell me in the chat box. The two cerebral hemispheres are connected with what? Cerebral hemispheres are connected with what? The two cerebral hemispheres are connected by corpus callosum. What it is connected by? Corpus callosum. And corpus callosum is also a unique feature of mammalian brain. Only present in mammalian brain. So it is also there. Okay? So corpus callosum, where we study in the neural chapter. Okay? But you should remember corpus callosum is also a unique characteristic. Yes, Uma, correct hai. Kirtini, correct hai. Corpus callosum, yes, Manoj. Corpus callosum is the answer which connects the two cerebral hemispheres, only seen with respect to mammalian brain. Okay? Not seen in reptiles, not seen in amphibians as well. Okay? Moving ahead. Next. Let's talk about the other features of mammalia quickly. Now talking about the teeth. How are the teeth of mammals? So certain terms are there. Let's quickly understand. There are different types of teeth present in the mammals. Kidney तो बेटा सब में है ना बेटा. कीर्तनी किडनी तो सब में है ना. किडनी रेप्टाइल्स में भी किडनी है, एम्फीबियंस में भी किडनी है, बर्ड्स में भी है किडनीज. And that is also metanephric kidneys. Same type of kidneys, they're metanephric. Okay. So kidney is not a differentiating or a unique feature with respect to mammals. Okay. Teeth are of different types. So you have incisors in the front, canines in the corner, premolar and molar. 4 different type of teeth are there. Okay. But when you look at a frog, if you open the mouth of frog, if you look at the frog teeth, all are similar. Frog, all teeth look same. So they are homodont teeth. Homo means same, odont means teeth. Here heterodont. Here there are 4 different type of teeth. Incisor hai, theek hai. Then we have canines, then we have premolars and molars. That is heterodont. And where is our teeth present? Can we pluck out our teeth? Is it like flower? Can you pluck out your teeth? No, you cannot pluck out your teeth because your teeth are embedded in a socket. Your teeth are embedded in the socket. That is your bony cavity, right? The cavity is there in your mandible and mandible. The socket is there. In that it is, fixed. So that's why we say our teeth is thecodont. Theco means a socket. Theco means a socket and odont means teeth. So teeth are present embedded in the socket. Very easily they will not come out. Then the development is twice. So in your young age, you get the milk teeth. Yes, at young age you get the milk teeth, 20 in number, right? At that stage you are having the incisors, you are having the molars, right? And you're not having the premolars, right? You do have the incisors, canines and molars, but you don't have the premolars and all, right? So you have only 20 teeth. Then as we become adult, those milk teeth automatically fall down. Why automatically they fall down? Because the permanent teeth are coming. So you have the milk teeth from inside, permanent teeth is coming. So permanent teeth pushes out the milk teeth, and then you get the permanent teeth, and that is 32 in number, right? The incisors, the canines, the premolars and molars. And after that, any of your adult teeth falls down, any of your adult teeth gets caries, okay, it gets any infection, you remove it out, you do the extraction. Will you get the third set? So only two set of teeth, only two set of teeth we get, right? Only two set of teeth we develop. One is the milk teeth, another is the permanent teeth. So that's why in our lifetime, we only get two set of teeth. One is the milk teeth, then is the permanent teeth. Third set, you need to pay for it. Okay, so we say what? In animals, teeth are developing only twice. That is diphodont. Okay, but in some animals, like I told you about shark, the teeth is made up of placoid scales. They are biting here and there. Okay, their teeth are falling off, but new teeth keeps on replacing n number of times. Shark doesn't have to go to a dentist. Sir, my teeth has fallen down. Okay, I need to replace it. No, their teeth comes lifelong. That is a polyphodont teeth. Which teeth? Polyphodont. So remember these three important terms: heterodont, thecodont, and diphodont. Heterodont is four different type of teeth. Four different type of teeth: incisors, canine, premolar, molars. Thecodont, teeth is present in socket, and diphodont means two set of teeth we develop throughout our lifetime. One is the milk teeth, 20 in number, and then the adult, that is 32 in number. Okay, milk teeth and permanent teeth. Okay, and these are also certainly asked in the previous MCQs, so you should know the terms. Next, moving ahead, talking about other unique feature, you said external ears or pinnae are present. External ears or pinnae are very well developed in mammals, and they are the unique characteristics which helps to collect the sound waves and guide them in the auditory canal, which goes and hits the tympanic membrane, which is connected to the ear ossicles. Okay, and we have three ear ossicles. How many ear ossicles? Three ear ossicles are there. This is also one more unique characteristic of mammal. We can say there are three ear ossicles, the incus, malleus, and stapes, which are hammering the sound waves to the cochlea, and that helps in processing of the sound. Right? So external ear pinna present, very unique characteristic. Then talking about the circulatory system is closed, four-chambered heart, warm-blooded animals, complete double circulation is seen. Are we clear? And the RBC is biconcave and enucleated. RBC is biconcave and enucleated for the majority of the mammals. Moving ahead, now talking about respiration. Respiration is only by lungs. We do only pulmonary respiration. We don't have gills respiration, or we don't have the cutaneous respiration. Adult mammals only breathe via lungs. And the lungs are present in the thoracic cavity, in the thoracic chamber, and which is separated by the abdominal cavity by a structure called as a diaphragm. And diaphragm is what? Diaphragm is muscular in nature. Muscular diaphragm. Now, one basic question I will ask you. Is the diaphragm skeletal or smooth muscle? Diaphragm is muscular in nature. That is a unique property of mammals. Okay? Unique characteristic of mammals, separating your thoracic and the abdominal cavity. Now, this diaphragm is skeletal muscle or is it a smooth muscle? Just answer me. Manoj is saying smooth muscle. What about other people? Oh, sorry. Uma Devi, smooth muscle. I think beta, that is wrong, na? How everyone can give wrong answer here? Come on. Pakka smooth hai? Pakka smooth hai? Sure? Come on, Google it, check it. Is it smooth? Smooth nahi hai beta. Nandini, you are correct. It is a skeletal muscle beta. ये एक skeletal muscle है. So it has a voluntary control also. It has a dual control actually, voluntary, involuntary, both control is there. External intercostal and internal intercostal muscles. The intercostal muscles which are present in between the ribs, they are smooth muscles. Whereas your diaphragm is a skeletal muscle which has both voluntary and involuntary control. Your respiratory rhythm center from your medulla is sending the signal on the diaphragm, right? Yes or no? Now, if I say consciously stop breathing. Stop breathing. Hold your breath. Did you hold your breath? Can you hold it for 30, 40 seconds? Yes. How did you did that? How did you do that? What did you hold? What did you stop moving? Diaphragm. Okay? So diaphragm is a skeletal muscle which can be voluntary, involuntary, both controlled. So when you are not paying attention, diaphragm is going up and down, no problem. But that is being controlled by what? That is being controlled by your respiratory rhythm center. That is sending the signals. Along with that, external intercostal muscles are also working to provide you breathing. So very important learning. Diaphragm is a skeletal muscle which is having both voluntary and involuntary control. Are we clear, beta? Are we clear with this? And smooth muscles all are involuntary. Smooth muscles are all involuntary. Okay? ठीक है? Very important learning. ठीक है? चलो अच्छा हुआ. I asked you this doubt because many of you are getting wrong answers. Moving ahead now. Talking ahead. Now talking about the reproduction part. Reproduction sexes are separate. ठीक है बेटा, membranous muscle बोल है लेकिन skeletal muscle है. ठीक है? इतना याद रखो. Sexes are separate, unisexual, okay, dioecious, sexual dimorphism is also seen. You can separate the male and female through their external body structures. Like mammary glands is very well developed in the females, not seen in the males, okay. Then fertilization inside the body, internal fertilization. Majority of the mammals are egg-laying mammals. Sorry, what I said. Majority of the mammals are giving birth to young ones, viviparous. However, few mammals like your duckbill platypus, ornithorhynchus, and your spiny anteater, they are what? They are egg-laying mammals. Okay? Majority of the mammals are giving birth to young ones. They are viviparous. Okay? Placental mammals, I will say the word. And some mammals where they give birth to young ones, but the young one is very chinna. Very chinna young one, you cannot put it out, it will die. So it has to again be inside mother only in the pouch. And you got me correct. I am talking about metatherians. I am talking about the pouched mammals. So the initial mammals, see, mammals also evolved from reptiles only. Mammals also evolved from reptiles. Both birds and mammals evolved from reptiles. So the initial mammals were prototherians, egg-laying mammals. Prototherians, egg-laying mammals, duckbill platypus, spiny anteater. And then we have the pouched mammals and placental mammals. Okay, they too separately got evolved. Okay, like the Australian mammals, marsupials. Okay, from the South American continent, they got separated, went into Australia. So they were not having any competition from the other placental mammals. So they evolved into different Australian marsupials. Okay, like kangaroo, wombat, and all that things. Okay? So they are pouch mammals where the young one is developing inside the mother's body in the pouch. Okay, and talking about placental mammals. In placental mammal, there is formation of placenta. The young one completely develops, okay, into the mother's body. And when the young one is out, okay, it is a grown young one. Am I clear? So it doesn't need further development outside. Next. So the most primitive mammals are egg-laying mammals. They are oviparous. Like your platypus, duckbill platypus, ornithorhynchus, and then we have the tachyglossus, that is ecdina, that is your spiny anteater. Both are egg-laying mammals. Okay? Different. Then we will have the other mammals like your kangaroo, your macropus, that is your pouched mammal, marsupial, metatherians. Pouched mammals are called as metatherians. Egg-laying mammals are prototherians. Okay? And again, this is the egg-laying mammal, this is a prototherian, this is a pouched mammal, this is a metatherian. Okay? And here we have pteropus, the flying fox, the bat. Okay? We say bat. English people, they call them as a flying fox as a common name because their face appears like a fox and it is flying. Flying fox, pteropus. And then we have the Balanoptera, the blue whale, and then a lot of examples are there, which are the placental mammals. Which are the placental mammals? Equus, horse, delphinus, dolphin, panthera, tigris, tiger, leo, lion, macaca, monkey, ratus. Ratus we have rat, canis we have dog, then felis we have cat, elephas, elephant. Remember all the scientific and common names which can be asked in your exam. Are we clear with this? And here with this, we complete what? We complete the mammal, and that's the end of animal kingdom. So I hope everything is clear, guys. Correct? So this is the end of the chapter. In the next class, we will talk about animal tissue. In the next class, okay, we will talk about in the next class we will talk about animal tissue beta. Okay? Okay. So next class we'll talk about animal tissue, but one request from you all. In the next class, we are going to talk about all the 4 tissues. So if you have seen your updated exam syllabus, we are having the, whatever we studied this week, starting from the cyclostomes, from vertebrata onwards till mammals. And then we will talk about animal tissue, the basics of animal tissue, that is your epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. So whatever was there in the old NCERT, whatever related to tissue was mentioned, we will go through that. We will see the basics of animal tissue. So in the next class, I will request you, go through the old NCERT, just go through the epithelial tissue points, okay, the examples and all, the junctions of epithelial tissue, types of connective tissue, okay, and then also study and come little bit about nervous tissue. We'll only discuss about neurons, and then in muscular tissue we will discuss about the skeletal, smooth, and cardiac muscle, right? So just go do a quick revision so that we can go a little more faster in the next class, and then we will complete the tissue in the next class. Are we clear with this, guys? And then you have a space exam also. So accordingly, you have to prepare the 2-week syllabus, last week's syllabus, this week's syllabus. Accordingly, go through all the, part from the NCERT, read them, solve the MCQs related to NCERT. If you have the old gym booklet, go through the old gym booklet or any reference book you have, kindly solve them. Are we clear with this? Okay? So see you in the next class, guys. Bye-bye. Any doubts you want to ask? Any doubts or anything you want to ask to me? You can go ahead and ask, beta. Any doubts pertaining to the topics taught last class, this class, whatever you are having? Hello, Abhinav. Good afternoon, beta. You are so early. You joined very early for the class. So no doubts, guys. Take care. So I will catch you in the next class. So till that time, take care. Do your revision. Do the MCQs. And do revise and come for the animal tissues. Okay? Bye, guys. Take care.